What if I told you in the Division 2 you could be a healer and a skill damage player at the same exact time? Well, I have the build for you, and this gear set is probably one of the most underrated, underused gear sets in the Division 2. When you guys pair this with a really good team and on Legendary, it will keep them alive. Just look at MD. He almost lost all of his armor, and instantly he got it back. Look at the other guy, he takes a little bit damage, instantly got his armor back. So as long as my skills are doing damage, these guys will have no issue staying up. And that's why this is probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, and I think probably one of the best support gear sets in the Division 2 at the moment. So let's talk about the gear set. So we are going to be running the 4-piece refractor set, and the reason why this is so good is because we're not taking advantage of the 2-piece, but we are taking advantage of the 3-piece, which gives us 25% skill damage. And then the 4-piece return to sender is where this really shines, and this is where we're getting our healing for us and our teammates. You receive repairs of 10% of damage dealt by your skills, and your allies receive repairs of 20% of damage dealt by your skills. So you're getting 10% baseline, and they're getting 20%. But we're going to raise this up because we are going to be running the chest piece. The chest piece talent. Now we have increased interest, increase the repairs received from return to sender from 10% to 25% for you. So that's a ton of extra incoming healing. And then we also, for our teammates, it's going to go from 20% to 35%. So now our teammates are going to get 35% healing. So not only are you getting 25% healing, but your teammates are going to get 35%. And that's why this is actually really, really good, especially because that 35% can save your teammates, especially if they're putting out the majority of the damage and you're putting out damage with your skills, your capacitor, and healing. This is going to help keep them up, keep you up. It's just a win-win situation. Now, some of you guys may ask, well, how was your damage skills? And if you notice, check out my damage compared to 2 other striker builds that were on the team. So my damage dealt wasn't that far off, but was even more impressive was I was healing them for 35% of my damage dealt, which is really, really good. And I was also being healed for 25%. So not only am I putting out damage, I'm actually healing the team and keeping us up longer. But let's get into the full build breakdown. So for the weapon, we are going to be running the capacitor. The reason why you want to run the capacitor with this build is because it's going to allow you to put out more damage with your skills. And in return, that's going to heal you and your teammates more, right? And the capacitor is the best weapon for that. It has assault rifle, damage to armor, and then you're going to want damage targets out of cover. If you head down, you'll see we have the capacitor talent, and it says shooting enemy builds a stack of cap of 40. Each stack grants 0.5% skill damage. Now you can get this up to 40 stacks, and that's where this gets pretty impressive because that's a total of 60% extra skill damage you're getting for each of your skills because we are running 2 different skills. Not only that, we're also getting 7.5% weapon damage for each yellow skill tier. So since we have 6 skill tier, we're going to be getting additional 45% extra weapon damage on our weapon, allowing us to put out a ton of damage. The great thing also about this weapon is it has critical hit chance 10%, 30% crit damage, 10% weapon handling, and 11 rounds in the magazine. So for our first piece of refractor, we're going to be running the mask, and then we're going to have skill tier on here, and we're also going to have skill damage. Since we have a lot of skill haste and skill duration on this build, I'm going to go with protection from elites, but you can put skill haste or skill damage right here. As I mentioned before, we are running the refractor chest piece for the talent. We do have skill tier, skill damage, and protection from elites mod. And again, this does have the talent increased threat. The reason why we're running this is for the extra healing that we're going to get to ourselves from 10%. Now we're getting 25%, and to teammates from 20% to 35%. For our third piece of refractor, we are going with the knee pads. And on this one is going to be one that we're able to run armor because we are running the technician class that gives us 1 skill tier. So we can sacrifice 1 blue roll on this build, and then we have skill damage right here. For the gloves, we are running the 4th and final piece of refractor, and this is going to be skill tier and skill damage. For the exotic on this one, we are going to go with the waveform holster. This is going to have skill tier, skill damage, and skill haste. The reason we're going to go with this is because you're going to generate a stack of 3% skill damage on one of your skills every second. It does cap at 10. So that means at any point you can have up to 30% skill damage on one of your skills and then 30% skill damage on the other skill. And then as it gets to max cap, it will start to go down, and slowly the stacks will go down and then go to the other skill. So the damage will go back and forth, and you'll see that as you guys are using your skills. And I think this is one of the better skill damage pieces in the game. Waveform holster is just that good. And for the backpack, we're going with the Hannah U backpack, the Force Multiplier. You can actually buy this from the Countdown vendor if you guys are watching this in time. Some of you guys might not, but you can just farm it if you need to. It has 10% skill haste on here. We have skill tier, and then it has skill haste, skill damage, and then again, we have protection from elite. But this one comes with a perfect talent called Perfect Combined Arms. Shooting enemy increases total skill damage by 30% for 3 seconds. So as long as I'm shooting enemies, my skill damage is going to be even higher. You remember, the higher your skill damage is, the more damage you're doing. That means the more healing that your teams are going to get, because your teams are going to get 30%, 35% of that damage back to them, and then you're going to get 25%. So the more damage you can put out, the bigger the heals are going to be for your teammates, keeping them up a lot longer. Now for the skills, we are going with the Striker Drone, and you remember we're going to have tier 6, so we're going to get the bonus of 120% striker damage and 420% health damage. I do have 20% striker damage on my Striker Drone. I think this is something you should invest in at some point, especially if you're going to run a skill damage build. So we're going to get extra damage just right there. And you can see just the base damage is 83,000. Obviously, those numbers are going to be a lot higher because that's without all the buffs themselves. And for the Striker Drone mods, we are running duration, health, and damage. Ideally, these are the 3 mods you're going to want to go with. And then you pair that up and you can kind of see we're running with the Assault Turret. And the same thing, we do have a tier 6, so we're getting 120% damage, 420% health on it. We do have 20% damage on there. We do have damage mod, duration mod, skill haste mod. And for the modifiers, we are running the Assault Link. You can put a lot of different ones. The reason I decided to go with the Assault Link, because if you look at this, is for the duration of the ability, you gain 5% weapon damage for every non-red core equipped. And remember, we're going to have up to 6 non-red cores, so that's extra 30% weapon damage we will have on this build, and that gives us extra weapon damage with our capacitor, which already hits pretty hard, so we can actually help out. Now, attributes are frozen, bonuses are multiplied by 4, the passive modifier values are multiplied by 2. So that's something for you to keep in mind. And then since you are a support player, on activation, allies within 25 meters are also granted a boost of their firearm score, and the modifier's duration is increased by 3 seconds. Now, if we go over here, you can see we have disrupt resistance is increased by 10% for each electronic tier. So since we have 6, we'll have 60% disrupt resistance. This helps out a ton. We also have hands on. So while at electronics tier 5, which we should be, 50% of your skill haste value is added to your skill damage. So we're going to put out more damage every time we hit tier 5. And then we go over here to load it up. 25% of your crit chance value is added to your crit damage while at tier 5 at firearms. So if we take a look at our stats, you'll see we're at 22%. So we will get that for crit damage, which does pretty well with this build. And that's why I do like running this, to just help us put out more damage with our capacitor. And obviously our skills are going to be doing most of the work. And this is the build right here. 4-piece refractor. We have 1 blue roll, but we do have 6 skill tier because we are running the technician class. You're also going to get an additional 10% skill damage from running this, as long as you select that in your skill tree. So this is exactly how you're going to want to run the build and how I've been running it and having a lot of fun. Let me know what you guys think. I honestly think this is such a really good build to use, and every team would definitely benefit from having this, especially in Legendary. Your teammates will stay up more. You'll get through content a lot quicker, as you guys saw in this gameplay, and it's something you guys can have fun with. Let me know, have you guys tried this version of Refractor? And if there is a different version you like running, let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Nothing but skills out.